welcome back to Faith in the Valley with Deepesh. I hope that you are well wherever you are in the world. And if you're new here, this is a space to share honest reflections about a journey that you may be going through in terms of recovery, in terms of healing. And so in today's honest reflection, I am continuing my story of the fourth day in hospital, and that was the day that I started to learn how to walk for the first time by using a walking frame. And for those of you who don't know, as a quick backstory, I had an unexpected back injury back in April 2025 and a herniated disc in the L5 S1 part of my spine, herniated, compressed my nerves, caused cauda equina syndrome. So learning how to walk using a walking frame wasn't my finest moment, and to be honest, I didn't really imagine myself ever going through something like that. But what I won't forget, despite being filled with fear and discomfort and also some uncertainty as well, there was also quiet courage, and prayer really helped me get through that first moment. So at around 11:20 in the morning, one of the physiotherapists, his name was Deepesh, and he came over to my hospital bed to talk me through what I was hoping to do that morning. So his role basically was to help me walk and to become mobile, and this was the first time since I had my injury, and so he had to help me, talk me through using the walking frame and actually getting up out of my hospital bed, which I hadn't done on my own at all. So it was a small journey, well, I can say that now, but it was only like 3 meters walk to get to the toilet, which was on the ward. So from my hospital bed to the toilet. And thankfully though, I had been given oxycodone as a alternative stronger pain relief earlier that morning, and so without it I really don't know how I would have managed in terms of dealing with the pain of being mobile and moving. So Deepesh, he was really patient, really kind with me, and his instructions were really clear, and he was so friendly as well and so compassionate. And so first of all, I had to swing my legs to the right, and to place my feet carefully on the floor. And then I was told to lean forward with my knees tucked under the hospital bed, and then I had to place both my hands in between my legs flat on the bed. And then came the push. So I had to put all of my body weight into my hands and try and stand up. I'm not going to lie, I was so afraid. And I remember like wobbling a lot and just shaking as well. And I remember like Deepesh holding me and guiding me and trying to steady me as well, which was really reassuring. But to be honest with you, I felt really uncomfortable, and it felt unnatural, like having to try and manage my movement in that way. And to be honest, I felt afraid. I'd never ever experienced anything like this before. So once I was on my feet, I had to learn how to actually use the walking frame. And again, it's something that I hadn't done before, But also as well, I'd only seen like elderly like people like use a walking frame. So the process felt really weird and quite strange and robotic as well. So I had to push the frame slightly ahead of myself, and then I had to step forward with my weaker leg first, which was my left leg, and then I had to step forward with my stronger leg, which was my right leg, and then I just had to keep repeating that same sequence like really slowly, and I did it bit by bit, and literally I was just taking a deep breath every time I made a step, which sounds really odd even reflecting with you about it now. You know, when before I was so mobile, I was walking a lot, running, so this felt really, really strange. But I did wobble. I wobbled a lot. And somehow, step by step, we made it to the toilet. And the thing is, the toilet felt so far away, even though it was only 3 meters away from my hospital bed. And when we reached there, Deepesh instructed me to then step backward really slowly and pulling the frame as I was going along. And I had to do this until the back of my legs touched the toilet. So I wasn't allowed to twist my body to try and look around to see where I was going. So I had to keep my spine straight and I had to keep my posture as stable as possible. And you know what? In that moment, I just quietly whispered to myself, God, please help me. Because it felt just so odd and so strange. I mean, I felt uncertain. I felt out of control, which it wasn't a nice feeling at all. And so I had to then, to lower myself down, I placed both of my hands on the toilet seat between my legs, and I had to try and steadily like sit down, but I really struggled. Even with the bending, I just couldn't do it. And so Deepesh, obviously he was there watching me and on standby to help me. He noticed that I was really, really struggling, and I was. And so what he did was that he kindly brought over a frame to support both of my arms, so then I could like rest my right hand and my left hand, and then I could eventually steady myself and slowly sit down on the toilet. And so at that point, Deepesh, he excused himself and he left me alone in the toilet to relieve myself. And to be honest with you, in that moment, I remember sitting there and I was feeling so low, just so down. And I wondered, you know, if I would even be able to get back up off the toilet seat. And then I remembered that I wasn't alone. And not only was Deepesh there, you know, on hand if I needed him, but I also had God there with me. And his presence was with me. And slowly my heart began to fill with his comfort, to know that even though this whole situation was so unfamiliar to me, he was there with me. And in a difficult situation like that, it's easy to feel deflated, it's easy to feel defeated, and it's easy to feel hopeless as well. But you know what? God is always there, and there's always room for hope, and there's room for gratitude, and to know that you are not alone, no matter what the situation is. And so when I finished using the toilet, I had to pull this orange cord, and that was my signal that I was ready to be helped again. And once Deepesh came and he arrived, and once again I had to make slow, uncertain steps to walk back to my hospital bed using the walking frame. Afterwards I felt so tired. I think mentally, physically, emotionally, I felt really drained. But you know what? That day, it taught me something that I still carry with me. And it's the fact that healing isn't just about strength at all. It's about having courage in those small moments. And it's also about standing up when you just don't know if your body's going to hold you. And that in itself takes a level of faith, right? And it's also about walking towards uncertainty, and it's about whispering quiet prayers, even when no one sees, even when no one hears. But God hears you, and God heard me. And if you're learning to stand again, whether it's physically or emotionally, then I want you to know and to be reminded that you are not alone. Never alone. And you are not weak for asking for help or for needing support in whatever valley situation that you are in. And you know, if you have resonated with my story in some way, or if you can relate to it in some way, or if you know someone who may have gone through a similar situation as myself, then please do share your comments and your stories below. However, if you would like me to share your story on your behalf, I'm happy to do so, and my details are in the description below. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Faith in the Valley with Deepesh, where you will hear more weekly reflections, more stories, more encouragement around hope and having faith and healing and recovering while you're on your journey. And until the next time, keep walking, whether it's slowly but faithfully, and knowing that you are not alone. And finally, may grace meet you exactly where you are. It has been wonderful speaking with you today. Thank you for joining me today. And until the next time, take care.